Hello and welcome to another video and podcast from Fantasy Football Scout as we look ahead to Fantasy Premier League Game Week 22 and beyond. Here we will take a look at the most disappointing players of the season so far. Those that have promised so much back in those heady days of summer, but by winter we've given them the cold shoulder. This is based on an article on Fantasy Football Scout by their writer Mark, so do please check that out at fantasyfootballscout.co.uk for more about these terrible players that we're going to list. Also a reminder, do press that like button, it really helps us out, and do subscribe as well so you can keep up to date with all our latest videos and podcasts. Also do check out fantasyfootballscout.co.uk for latest members offers as well. Okay, let's tuck in. First, let's go for goal in our 11 of disappointments. Okay, this is Mark Flecken from Brentford. His predecessor last season, David Raya, now of Arsenal, benefited from the Bees' combination of conceding the second most attempts on target, but also the fourth fewest big chances, meaning he collected a lot of saves from very non-threatening shots. That is the holy grail for a goalkeeper. He got 12 clean sheets too. Wow. But this time out, Brentford have just 3. They have a lower expected goal conceded, but a third for allowing big chances, which means they have a higher chance of conceding from fewer shots, less saves. So lower shots, but those that they are very high quality, which means lack of clean sheets, lack of save points, lack of bonus, all round a disappointment for those that own him. He is in a few teams though. It is worth pointing out that he does have a double game week coming up. But it is a tough one. Just looking at the fixtures, Game Week 25, Brentford face probably the worst for a goalkeeper. Liverpool against Man City. Good luck fielding him for that. Okay, let's move on to defence in our 3-man backline of shame. Okay. Ben Chilwell is the poster boy of this one. I haven't got pictures for all of them. I can't, didn't have time for all of that. But Ben Chilwell was sort of the poster boy for all of the defenders that we'll mention. What we're looking at is a 3-4-3 as well. So just 3 defenders. Ben Chilwell, he was a shoo-in at the left-back berth for Chelsea. But think again, Pochettino favoured him as a winger, which means he then had to compete with all the many wingers, the thousands of wingers that Chelsea have bought over the last year or so. And plus, on top of that, he didn't even get a chance because he was injured for a lot of this season so far. Overall, a terrible disappointment. Levi Colwill, instead, is the most surprisingly impressive Chelsea pick in defence, keeping his place and keeping Chilwell's former place in the team as well. So I think he's been... Chilwell has been a massive disappointment. I think he was in my team originally, but he's swiftly removed. Next up, Matty Cash, someone who wasn't originally in a lot of teams, but then was, and now isn't. He scored 17 points in Game Week 3. Wow. But disappointed the millions that brought him in thereafter. After Game Week 7, he only exceeded 2 points just once, and he struggled to find a starting berth. It's a shame, because this underlines how disappointing he's been. He is looking at the stats here. He's the number 1 defender for big chances and shots on target. So that is, arguably he is the poster boy of disappointment. They all are. That's why we've got them in the 11 of disappointment. Next up is Ruben Dias. Man City's mainstay in a very solid defence. But think again, they've conceded the fewest shots, but have just 3 clean sheets in the last 18 matches. Defensive errors, goalkeeping errors have cost them. Dias is on just 37 points from 15 starts and 2 cameos. Instead, it's been Kyle Walker who's been Mr. Reliable, picking up the starts. He's even picked up a couple of assists and 6 bonus points ahead of that double game week in Game Week 25. It's probably, if you're looking for a Man City defender, it's not going to be Dias, it's probably going to be Walker. So Dias, a disappointment there. So there's 3 there. Let's move on to midfielders. We're rattling through this one. It's quite a short video, this one, but interesting. Who's disappointed you in your teams? And I know a few have been in my team now and again. Okay, Let's have a look at the four-man midfield of Malays. Manchester United and Marcus Rashford are the poster boys of this section. 2 goals and 2 assists by Gameweek 18, including 7 consecutive blanks. That is disappointing. Hard to believe he was in 4 million teams at one point this season. That's 4 out of 10 teams, 2 in 5. But as with last season, he could be a second half of the season guy. So I'm not fully saying that he's disappointing this season, just is so far. He's already impressed in the new year. And a little reminder that after the 2022 World Cup, where he did start to impress in that tournament, he netted 10 times in 10 matches. So don't rule him out. But he has been disappointing so far. Next up, in this four-man midfield is Fernandes. Rashford's Manchester United teammate has also disappointed. He's created the league's most chances, 55. Wow, that's good. And is joint 8th for shots. Ooh, that's good. But he only has 6 attacking returns. An awful goal conversion rate of 6.1% is the key factor here. Disappointing. And he costs a lot as well. So the Manchester United pair making up half of our midfield. Next up is Martinelli at Arsenal. Last season, the Arsenal attacker nabbed 15 goals and 9 assists. But in 18 appearances, he has just 2 goals and 3 assists so far. Here's a stat. Oliver McBurney at Sheffield United and Brentford's Neil Maupay have at least twice his 3 big chances this season. I mean, that's really poor. So he's poor in underlying stats, poor in actual stats as well. Have been a big disappointment to those that have invested in him. Next up is Matoma from my team, Brighton. Another midfield success last season, but this season he has failed to impress FPL managers. So before, he currently injured and also in Japan with the national side. So it's sort of a double blow for anyone investing in him. He's not around. He's not in the country, and he's injured anyway. But so before his injury in Game Week 18, he just mustered 3 goals and 5 assists. That's okay, but apart from Game Week 6 against Bournemouth and Game Week 2 against Wolves, he's only got more than 5 points just the once. So it's really been those 2 games he's impressed. The rest of the season, less so. He got a 6-point return in Game Week 11 against Everton. So, but, he did do well last season. He has been injured. So hopefully when he returns from injury, he can do well. I say that as a Brighton fan, but also an FPL manager, because it would be good to get him back. Particularly looking at the fixtures, Brighton are riding high the season ticket. They've got Luton, Crystal Palace, Tottenham, Sheffield United, Everton, Fulham and Nottingham Forest right up until Game Week 28. A very fine run of fixtures there. Okay, so that's our 4-man midfield. I wonder if you can guess who is in amongst our 3 forwards. Okay, so as usual, I'm just sort of using the one picture, sort of the poster boy of this section, and okay. Yeah, that's right. It's Darwin Núñez. And here he is with his headphones on, listening to his favourite song, Missing by Everything But the Goal. And he's even missed his ear in this picture as well. That's how much he misses. He has truly been the poster boy of missed chances. He has a goal conversion rate of only 8.6%. He is second only to Calvert-Lewin in terms of underperformance. And he has 5 goals, but was expected to have scored at least 8, possibly 9 goals this season, according to the expected stats there. He has been in my team. I personally really didn't enjoy owning him. Having said that, Game Week 22 is coming up. He could score well in that against Bournemouth. And good fixtures coming up. Could have a double in Game Week 25. Could do well. But he was he was so much of a disappointment in my team. I got rid of him after about 3 matches. I think he lasted 3 matches. I'd had enough. I couldn't bear all the missed goals. I mean, he will get attacking returns, and he has done. Clearly 5 goals, but there's so much more, and it's just that promise and the hope. Crushed dreams there. Next one isn't another Manchester United one. They are the kings of this disappointing 11. It's Rasmus Højlund. He cost 72 million in real life, not in the actual game. But he didn't score in the Premier League until his 12th start back in Game Week 19. But by breaking this duck and scoring in consecutive outings, this could be the boost needed to kickstart his Old Trafford career, says Mark Jobling in his article on Fantasy Football Scout, to raise the hopes of Manchester United fans. I must admit, I've got Garnacho in my team currently, and yeah, he's going nowhere, and I certainly want to field him for the next few fixtures, because I do quite like the Manchester United attack at the moment. Rashford is returning to form, we hope, or Manchester United fans hope, and Rasmus Højlund could indeed do well, and Garnacho has already impressed. And final name, okay, who is it going to be? It's Nicholas Jackson. 7 goals. It looks reasonable this season, but given Chelsea are one of the most attacking sides this season. Now, I've got a talisman video and podcast which does feature a table on most attacking teams. So have a check out on Fantasy Football Scouts YouTube channel, and also wherever you listen to podcasts for that. Anyway, back to Jackson. He has just 7 goals, and 3 of those were in a completely bizarre match against a 9-man Spurs, where Spurs just collapsed. And yeah, I mean, they all count, but you've got to bear in mind that 3 were just in one match, and it was an odd match. So in terms of big chances, he's a bit like Darwin Núñez and Calvert-Lewin. He's a massive underachiever in front of goal. Yeah, I think he has been quite disappointing. I think if you got him for that amazing haul against Spurs, you probably wouldn't find him disappointing. He probably saved your game week. But overall, he has been a disappointment. So there we go. That's the 11. Short video, short podcast. But as you said, if you want more on just how rubbish these players have been, or how disappointing they've been, do check out Fantasy Football Scout. And Mark's article, which has much more about that. It should be on the homepage somewhere. So how many of these have you been in your team? How many are currently in your team? And how many of those do you think are actually going to improve in the second half of the season? Obviously, there is quite a degree of optimism around Manchester United's assets that they could get better. But there's certainly lots of disappointing picks there. So it's good to take this moment in this very long game week preparation for Game Week 22 to have a think about some of our errors and some of these guys' errors as well. Let us know in the comments below. And once again, do press that like button. Do remember to subscribe. Keep up to date with all our latest videos and podcasts. And do check out Fantasy Football Scout, not just for Mark's article, which has much more detail about how amazingly rubbish these players are, but also for those members offers as well. So you can look at the tables there and all the latest stats, some of the stats I've been reading out here, and rate my team tool and all those types of things. Thanks a lot for your time. Take care. Good luck in Game Week 22. And good luck with your picks. And hopefully none of your other picks end up in a season disappointing 11 by the end of it. Take care. See you soon.